Yeah, Walleyes For Tomorrow runs a number of hatcheries around the state of Wisconsin, and one of them that we run is at Green Lake. There's an old retired DNR hatchery, not very big, that's now privately owned by the Green Lake Sanitary District, but we have a hatchery sited there. It's our largest hatchery by virtue of the number of eggs that we can put in this hatchery. They typically put somewhere between 9 and 11 million eggs in the hatchery and incubate them. We use well water, artesian well water. It comes out of the ground at 54 degrees 24/7, and typically it takes about 18 to 22 days for the eggs to hatch. So that gives you some indication. As water temperature goes up and down in nature, the length of incubation time changes based upon the number of what's called temperature days, accumulated temperature days that these eggs are subjected to. But then what we do is we collect the fry, the larvae, they're called, because they're not fully formed fish yet. And we put them in coolers, and we take them out in the middle of Green Lake. Green Lake is 290 feet deep, and we cut the engine speed on the motor and let the boat drift across the lake, and we put a siphon hose in the cooler, and we siphon the fry right into the water in deep water. That's where the fewest number of predators are, and that's where they naturally live once they're spawned from a spawning site on the lake. They swim out in the middle of the lake. It's generally speaking the warmest water, top 18 inches maybe, is the warmest water, and that's where the phytoplankton starts to proliferate in the springtime, and the zooplankton are there feeding on them, and then that's the forage for little walleyes. Little walleyes are not considered juvenile walleyes until they're about 14 days old, and at that time they're only about 3/4 of an inch long, but they're every much a predator as they are when they're 24 inches long. They're constantly eating at that point, eating something else. And but the chapter's been successfully doing this now for 15 years. Actually, we've had the hatchery there for over 20 years in various locations and doing various processes that weren't necessarily very productive. But what we've learned over the years from that hatchery, we get an average of 85,000 eggs per female, and we typically don't strip the eggs from any female over 24 inches long. So we're going, like maybe 16 inches would be a very young mature fish, probably not even, but we don't strip anything over 24 because we found that eggs from older fish don't have the survivability as from the younger fish. So those guys catch over 400 fish a year to use for the eggs and the sperm to fertilize the eggs. So it's quite a process. They have a very dedicated staff over there that works, and we're all volunteers, so they're very much appreciated.